In this video, I'm going to talk about the shell, draft, and rib features. You will want to use these if your design is for manufacturing, specifically if that manufacturing process is molding. These can all be found under the features tab right over here. So let's get started with shell. This is used if you want to hollow out your part. You could extrude very carefully, but if you have a complex part, this can be very tedious and it's not very robust. Alternatively, we can use the shell tool, and all you have to do is select shell and choose the surface you want to remove. You can adjust the thickness here. I'm going to make this a little thinner. And it's not going to show me the preview unless I check show preview. I can see what it's going to cut out. And I'm going to hit accept, and we can see that that surface was hollowed out. Next, I want to go through the draft. A draft is used for molding. In this image, we can see if you were to make this part, it would be possible to damage the mold or the part itself when removing. But if we add a little bit of a draft here, this is a more dramatic version of it. But if we do add this little bit of a draft, it is much better for manufacturing. So what I want to do is draft these inner tubes right now. So I'm gonna click my draft button again in the features tab. I'm trying to turn this tube into a draft. For my neutral surface, I'm gonna click that top surface. For my drafted surface, I'm gonna click the side and hit apply. And we can see that this dramatic draft was created. If I wanted it to go the opposite direction, what I would do is choose the bottom surface as my neutral surface and choose the side again. And you can see that this was too thin and it cut my part. So I'm gonna hit undo right here and maybe make that a 1 degree draft. And we can see that it drafted in the opposite direction. It's a little hard to tell just because it is only 1 degree. If I wanted to draft this entire top surface, what I can do is maybe start with my front plane and then choose that surface. And again, I'll do something very easy to see, and we can see that draft there. If I had wanted to include these as well, I can undo that and just click on those surfaces as well. I don't need to hold my shift key or anything. I just click on them and they're added to the box. If there's any I want to delete, I can just right click on it and delete. But we can see that whole surface was drafted. The last thing I want to do is talk about ribs, and I'm going to use a different part to show you that. Let me open that now. So if we have a very thin feature and maybe it's not particularly strong, we want to ensure that the object has some integrity. We need to make sure that there is no deformity in manufacturing. And to do this, we're going to add some ribs. So what I'm going to do is I want to add a rib connecting this to support it here, and same on the other side. So what I'm going to do is, again, in the features tab, go over and find rib, and then choose my front plane. And it's going to bring me into a sketch. And I just want to make sure that the endpoints on my line are coincident with the features I'm trying to connect them with. I'm going to dimension. Now that my sketch is fully dimensioned, I'm going to hit accept. And I can see that this arrow is pointing towards the object. This is the side that my rib is going to be on. I can specify how thick I want it to be. I'm going to keep it at 0.1, and I can add a draft. Now I can see my rib was added. And just to show you again, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Your ribs do not have to be straight lines. You can do any shape. I'm going to show you a curve. It really just depends on what you want your final product to look like and how it needs to be manufactured. This is a pretty unrealistic rib, but just for the sake of this video, it doesn't really matter. These three features, the draft, shell, and rib, are very useful when ensuring our model is suitable for manufacturing.